Okay, sorry I had to cut the last lecture short. It was getting way too long, well over 45 minutes. So I've had to edit it down, and I get told off if it's too long. But anyway, so let's jump straight back into where we left off. So now I'm going to do the diagonals. That one and these two horizontal beams here that hold it together. So a box like so up. We don't want any of that and none of that. Or do we want some? Make it a little bit wobbly. Change that hideous colour so it's one of these. Let's push it against. Right, what we could do here is take the back faces off because we're never going to see these. Convert it to an editable poly. Select the rear faces, delete, delete, delete. Push it right against the door like that. Do you actually think that that's quite thick for a plank for a door? Okay, so pull that up. Okay, make it fit by pulling these verts about like so. What I'm going to do is going to chamfer these edges on here as well. So select these. Oops. Again, make sure you've got object selected up there so you don't make a mistake like I almost did. Going to do the edges as well, like that, and these. Like that, and then click on Chamfer settings. Don't worry that it goes weird, just need to click in there, go 0.5 like that. I think that would be cool. Click on the tick. So I'd make that a lot thinner because that's quite a fat piece of wood there. Just pull that in like that. I almost think it's too fat that way as well, so just lift it. There you go. It's better. Let's pull this to the edge. Snap. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use these two now to make them make it a bit wobbly, so that it's not straight. Okay, so that's good. So that's another thing done. Just like that. Change the colour. Same as that. There. That we can copy. Hold down Shift and drag. Click OK. If you want to make it a little bit individual, just turn it. It's just not replicating the one at the top. There we go. We just need a diagonal piece, so I'll just copy this. Okay, rotate 45 degrees. Oh no, actually 30 degrees. And let's just, we can modify this by hand. So pull this down like that. Grab those verts and pull it over so that it fits comfortably on top of that. So I think I need to pull them up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these all together. So I just click on one and go to attach. Click on that one and click on that one. So these are all connected now. So what I can do now is just scale it, just to shift it like that. Gives it a much better presence on that door, and just position it in the middle. Yeah, that's better. You can instantly look better. Let's turn off our edges. There we have our barn door, looking a bit rickety there, which is cool. Yeah, I like the wobbly sort of nature of it, which is makes it look a bit more authentic. Okay, I'm going to search for some hinges. Let's have a look, see what we can find. Okay, so I found some hinge reference here. It's pretty basic, but I think this is what we need, something like this. I'll make the hinges a bit more interesting. So you've got this, because it looks like that's bolted to the door, that's bolted to the post, and that just sits on top. And that's all it does. So you can actually lift the door off quite easily. But that's cool. You know, anything like that, and there'll be old rusty metal ones. So when we come to texture them, we can use a nice metal rust texture on that. So that's the kind of look we're going to go for. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, let's turn our edges back on so we can see what we're doing here. Now then, I'm going to give it a slightly rounded end. I'm not going to do that kink, but I will make it taper towards the hinge like that. And then we'll do the hinge part. Okay, so for the end part. Did you see what was happening now? I tried to create a small one and it kept cutting out. That's because our unit scale is quite small, so just create a big one if you have to. And if you're getting problems like that, and then you can just go in and scale it to whatever you need. It's a funny thing that Max does. I don't know why it does it, but it just does. Just a little workaround. What we might do, okay, with this we're going to we will put another plate on here. I think it needs it, and we're going to have to butt it up close to the frame, and we'll put in a nice metal rusty plate on this side. So what we'll do is we'll extend that out from, so select that element. Let's just look at wireframe so I can see through. Okay, we need to detach that. Yeah, detach. Doesn't matter what it's called. Don't need to move it. Just select the hinge metal part. Now we can extrude like this. There you go. Wait. let's put shading back on. Okay, so that makes more sense. I do believe that needs to be on the inside there. So let's copy that above. Like that. Okay, so now we've got a rickety old door. So now we've moved that door closer. It's got a massive gap down here. So we're gonna move. Move that closer slightly. We did want a gap anyway, because we want it to be. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. That's our door. I'm not happy with these hinges. We may come back to that before we finish. I think this part of it's fine. It's the way it sits on that wood there. It's not. I'm not happy about this part here. So we may come back and redo that part. So really, in reality, this door can only open this way. It can't open up inwards because it wouldn't realistically work. The door wouldn't be able to go against that beam. I mean, that's fine, but you just don't have doors like that. We would have to put, yeah, we may do that. We'll have to put some sort of stopper around the inside. Door stopper. Anyway, I think that will do for now. And let's just move all that to 0 now. There we go. That's roughly in the right place. Like that. Okay, you need to collapse all the stacks for attach to work properly. Collapse all, yes. No, collapse all. Okay, now attach that to that, so like that. So we've got a door. So we're going to attach these 3 together now. Do we want the top of this? In fact, before we do that, I'm just going to pull these ends out a little bit further because I think it'll look a bit better. Yes, like that. Okay, now I'm just going to just delete the tops. See, the danger with deleting things like this, even though you never see it, light can sort of creep in there and seep through, and it'll go through faces that are only one-sided. So if light gets in there in any way, it'll come through here and it'll hit something in the scene that you don't want it to hit, and you'll be confused as to where it's coming from. So I think I'm just going to leave them, to be honest. Yeah, let's put it back on top there. Right, these are still one piece. Okay, so that these will have to be separated. Okay. Now I might just attach this to the door and to that one, and attach these to here. Touch that, touch that. Okay, so now we're getting, that's it, now we're getting down to a few objects. We've got 2 objects. We've got the door So HD hut door and HD hut door frame. There we have it. Okay, so like I said, two things. We may come back and have another go at these hinges, and we may have another go at the tops of these doors, because that, even though it looks wobbly, and I'm not sold on it completely. I'm not buying that. It doesn't look like it's like what it needs is that's a plank. It needs to come down a bit. And if you're going to have a shorter one, then go along, then come up a bit, and then go along, rather than be slanting like that. I'm not sure if that really matters too much. Bottom's not so bad, but it would give it a nice bit of character. In fact, let's have a look at doing that now and see what difference it makes. See, that gives it a much more realistic look. It looks more like, you know, the planks are literally too short for the door, rather than slanting. And that's cool, I like that. So I'm going to do the rest of them. Now we have it. Yeah, that's much better. And we can play with those verts to make the gaps bigger, smaller, shorter, whatever we want to do. You know, we could just raise this up a lot, in fact, to make it look a bit more authentic. There we go. Yeah, that's better. It looks like planks now. And then we do our textures, we can marry that up with some planks. So okay, a quick update to this. I changed the hinges. You can see I've taken them off and I've moved them to the interior of the room. Why have I done this? Because we want our door to open inwards like this, and if they were on this side like I had them, it just wouldn't work. The door wouldn't operate as we want it to, not in the real world. You know, doors open inwards. Traditionally, they open into the room. They rarely open outwards. You know, we're going to approach the hut from sort of this angle, so we want that sort of swinging open like this a bit. Maybe in the wind, give it some atmosphere. But yeah, but I wanted to keep these planks or these beams on the outside just to give it a bit of detail and a bit of character. So these are the kind of decisions you're going to have to make when you start modeling for sort of big scenes and things. So that kind of looks better. It looks a bit plain on this side, but you know, we're not too worried about the interior of the room at the moment. And also, once the textures are on, that will change. It won't look so flat and boring as it does at the moment. But this side, with it set back into that frame as well, it looks a lot better. Gives it a lot more depth. Makes it a lot more interesting to look at. So I'm a lot happier with that. Yeah, and we'll rig that up so as it starts swinging and works like a proper door. Yeah, that's much better. You can see now. Okay, so there's your door. I'll see you in the next lecture.